Hello everyone, and welcome to our virtual Mosaic workshop. My name is Steven Lutz, and if you've ever been curious about how mosaics are created, I am here to show you how it's done. I am thrilled to be working on this new project. The benches will be at the Patricia Davis Community Garden. This garden is part of the citywide effort to grow and build a sense of community. I really want to inspire you to learn how to use mosaics to make your life and the community a more beautiful place. You can use just an old scrap piece of wood like I found in my garage, or you can try something a little more professional. This is called a carry board, and you can get this at any tile supply store. It's strong and very lightweight. What I did is I took a photo of a sunflower in the garden, and I blew that up and printed it out and put it onto a piece of paper. Once you get that design, you can add with a pen any other designs you'd like to add. If you want to add some more leaves or some more flowers, and you can adjust your design to make it exactly what you want. You have to take something like a contact paper. It's a shelving paper that people use in their closets. Cut out a piece that's about the correct size for what you want. And then you're going to take this and peel it back. And when you peel it back, you're going to notice that there's a sticky side and a smooth side. The important thing here is you want to make sure that the sticky side is facing up, because that's where your tiles are going to go down onto. And here's how I did this one to show you that. You've got the board, you've got your design. This is the contact paper. If you peel back that top layer, you've got a sticky surface that you can put tiles on, and they won't move around. This is another example of what it looks like with some tiles on there. This is the tile I'm using today. You can buy these, I guess the best way is to buy them on Amazon, or tile stores probably have them as well. You don't want pieces of tile to go all around your house, so I like to put a cloth or a towel down first, and then I take something to cut the tiles into, so if there's pieces flying, they'll go in here and not in your room. These are some of the common tools you might see people using to cut and use tile. When you're cutting tiles, you put the tip of the tool close to the edge of the tile, and I usually put my hand around it and cut, and you'll see you get two little pieces. If you angle the tool, cut it, you get a different kind of a cut. When you have the pieces that you want, you go over to your board where you're working and you say, okay, this could be the base of a sunflower. This one here can go here. This can go here. And you just work your way up, and little by little, you create the flower. Once you've gotten that completely done, then you're ready for the next step. So now we have the tiles down that we want to use for this mosaic bench that I'm making. And we have a sticky tape underneath. We need something on top to hold them in place to kind of make a sandwich so that those tiles won't move. This is a roll of mosaic tape. You can also get this on Amazon. It comes in different sizes. You don't need a big size like this one. It's very sticky. And you cut a piece of this, and then you look to where your tiles are, and if you're happy with that position, this is the time to put this down. You put this tape on top, and you press it down. So now all your tiles are sandwiched in between two layers of plastic, and they can't move, and you're ready to put them onto your bench. So we have our tile that's in between two pieces of plastic, and we have to figure out a way to get that onto this cement bench. I'm going to demonstrate on a small piece, and then we'll show you how we do it on a larger scale. So taking any old piece of wood or a board, you're going to put it on top of your mosaic. You're going to flip it over, and then when you take the board off, you can peel off the back layer of tape. Now you're going to have the tiles with one piece of plastic. Then you're going to flip it back. So I'm going to show you that on the bench project now. And put it on top of this board. Then you need some clamps. These are two different kinds of clamps. This one is super easy. You just squeeze and it's clamped. When you want to let it go, you press there and it opens up. These are a little more complicated. You squeeze here to open and close the clamp. And if you want to get a little tighter, you pump it like that. So that's what I'm going to do now. See is the mosaic is upside down now. So the part that's going to be connected to the bench is facing up. This is the contact paper that we put on before. We want to remove that, and you can see it's really not very sticky, but you see some of these black pieces are coming up here? This is something we want to watch for, because each one of those pieces we have to make sure we put back in its place and press it down tightly. Otherwise, it's going to fall off when we move this mural onto the bench. One thing we have to do is each one of these little tiles, we want to make sure it's attached strongly to the tape above it. And if not, when we go to slide this whole thing onto the cement, we could get little pieces falling here or there, and it's fixable, but why fix something if you can prevent it from being broken? So let me do that, and I'll be back when we're mixing up the cement. So we have our cement bench, and now we're going to put the thin set, which is kind of like a glue adhesive cement mixture, onto the bench, and then we can take the mosaic and put that into the thin set. You can see the consistency is kind of like a very thick peanut butter kind of a look. And I've put around the bench some tape and some plastic, because this gets pretty messy. This is a very important tool. The size of these little notches has to match how thick the tile is. You see how much extra I have. And because I have my tape down, I'm just going to let it roll with the punches and go off the edge. If you want to be super neat, probably this isn't the job for you. And the reason we want these lines is so that when we put the tiles down, there will be enough adhesive on the bench for the tile to attach, and then the extra will squirt up in between the tiles to help secure them. And the angle you use this on, if you go like this, it makes it smooth. If you go like this, it makes it rough, but it also digs down and removes some extra grout. Or thin set, I should say. Okay, now we're ready for the most challenging part, the most fun part, but also tricky. We have to get this mosaic to fall exactly in place. You can just leave the board there, Peter. Come a little bit farther. Let me just see here. Okay. Now slowly pull back. Very slowly, you're doing good. Wait there. Keep going. Good. Keep going. Good. All right. That wasn't too terrible. There's a couple little tiles that came out of place, but we can easily fix them. And then we just want to make sure that our edges are lined up as best as we can. So now the tile is on the cement, but we want to make sure that every little tile is actually in contact with the cement. So you can use your finger, you can use a small tool, and I'm just going to press each tile. The big ones are pretty much always good. The little ones need a little extra attention and love so that they will adhere to this thin set mortar. Okay, so we now have the bench that has the thin set and the tile, and I started to peel off some of the tape just so you can see this process. If it sticks, no problem, you just pull it off, and now you have a nice smooth edge here. And then here, I'm going to pull some more of the tape off, and what you're hoping when you take all this tape off is that the tile will stay attached to the thin set and the bench and not get ripped up with your tape. And the tape is still, after all this time, very sticky. And the tile wants to stick to the tape, but you don't want to. Before we did, but not now. That's it. So now that all the tape is off, before we put the grout on, we want to make sure this is our last chance to fix anything, change anything. If there's a loose tile, again, we could use this glue, the E6000, and that would really help to get anything loose in place. And then with this particular kind of glass tile, because it's glass, it's the same consistency material all the way through. So I can sand it, and where it's orange, it's still going to be orange. That's not going to change it. If you're using a different kind of a tile, let's say a ceramic tile, you wouldn't want to sand it because that's going to change. It's going to ruin your finish. Here, it's hard to see, but I can feel with my finger it's a little rough. And so I'm going to just get rid of some of these rough spots. You can even go along the edge. And you can see here on the table, there are some little pieces that are flaking off. And I want to feel very closely around this edge in particular, because when someone's sitting on the bench, most likely they'll be sitting this way with their feet forward. And so I don't want them to have any sharp edges. And if it's smooth enough for my fingers, it should be smooth enough for someone with a pair of shorts or pants on. So now we have our mosaic ready to go. We've cleaned it up, we retaped it, it's all set, and we mixed up our grout, and now we're going to apply the grout. You can start anywhere you want. I'm going to put a little bit more on here. This bucket we mixed has plenty, has way too much. There's a lot of different tools you can use, and we've got the time to talk about it because we can use this for up to 40 minutes without worrying about it. Here's a handy little tool someone gave me. Let me try that. I've never used that kind before. Oh, that looks pretty good. You see now, if you look at this image of the ladybug, you can see how the grout is filling in all those little spaces. But I think this is good for a scraper. I think for application, I'm going to use something like this, just so I can get it into all the little nooks and crannies. And now you see why we put this tape here, because it's a messy job, especially around the edges, but it's okay. So we're back. It's been about 45 minutes to an hour after we applied the grout, and now we're ready to wash. With this particular grout, we have a two-stage washing procedure. This is the first one, and the packet is called Initial Wash. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to go to the second wash. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that I have inspired you to try doing mosaics on your own, and I look forward to having you come to the Patricia Davis Community Garden and see the benches when they're installed. Thank you.